Welcome to NRSE 4355, Healthcare Systems and Informatics for Nurses. This is just going to be a brief overview of the course and the assignments that will be expected throughout the semester. Alright, this is a 4-hour course. There are no prerequisites to it, and this course is going to introduce you into healthcare organizational structures, information systems, and basic concepts of leadership and management. It examines the roles of the organizational structure and informatics relative to clinical decision making, patient safety, quality improvement, and evidence-based practice. When you look at the outcomes that we're going to expect you to achieve for this course, is to discuss key concepts related to healthcare organizational structures, demonstrate use of healthcare information systems and data to enhance quality patient care, to examine legal and ethical principles of maintaining confidentiality of health information system data, to analyze effectiveness of various safety-enhancing technologies used in patient care, to examine effectiveness of clinical decision support tools used in nursing practice, to explain the use of quality indicators in healthcare systems to promote effective clinical decision making, demonstrate leadership skills in utilizing information system technology and data to analyze factors influencing the design of various healthcare organizational structures. The next section is just major topics. They're going to be in this course, and they're also threaded throughout the curriculum. So things such as caring and safety, you'll see pop up again and again in the courses that you're taking. And then in terms of the major concept for informatics, is Introduction to Healthcare Informatics and Quality Control, Survey of Health Information Systems, Telehealth Technology for Virtual Care and Monitoring, Case Management, Analytics, Point of Care Decision Making, Safety and the Cues and Competencies, Evidence-Based Practice Quality and Acuity Indicators, Quality Assurance, and Continuous Quality Improvement. And then in this course, we're also going to be threading healthcare systems, which is organizational structures, organizational mission, vision, and philosophy, quality improvement processes, re-engineering of organizational structures. And then we also have leadership and management, which are basic concepts of leadership and management, shared governance, and professional accountability for practice, conflict management, as well as resolution in the group process. In this course, you're going to have several major assignments. Each week, you will have a discussion board that you'll be responsible for doing an initial post and then responding to one of your classmates in the module week. You also each week have module quizzes, and those are timed. And then you also are going to be doing the major project that you're going to be doing for your last week of the course is you're going to be doing a quality safety dashboard project, which basically what that does is we're going to give you an example of an Excel spreadsheet, and it's going to be what we call a dashboard, which simply is over several quarters, data has been collected about different indicators, such it could be falls, it could be hospital-acquired pneumonia. There's several things that are going to be listed on there. So you're going to pick one of those, and that's going to be the indicator that you're going to be working on for your project. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take that and analyze that data and determine whether we're meeting our goals or we're not meeting our goals. And if we're not meeting our goals, then we need to look for evidence-based guidelines, evidence-based intervention to change that unit's processes so that we can meet our goals in the next quarter. And the final project that you're going to have, once you do all this, and there's a rubric that I'll show you, once you do this, the project will be a narrated PowerPoint that will then be dropped into the Dropbox. And while I'm thinking about it, let me just go ahead and say, and later on I talk about how you can use Google Docs to do this PowerPoint and narrate it. You also can narrate directly to a PowerPoint, which I actually find easier than using Google Docs. So it's completely up to you. If you need some help with how to do either one, I've got some YouTube videos that I found that could be very helpful for you. You just need to let us know, and we'll be glad to get those to you. The next part is your contact information, and that'll be your specific instructor. And so you'll need to go to your specific site and pull up the syllabus, and you'll find the name of your instructor, how to contact him by email and by phone, and then what the office is. And then there'll also be instructor availability. Now this is an online class, and so we tend to just do it by appointment. If you need to get together and talk, you want to do it in person, or you want to do it by Skype or over the phone, any of those are perfectly acceptable, and we'll be glad to make an appointment with you that works with your schedule. The next part is the course requirements, and that goes over your textbook. We are using 2 textbooks. We're using Nelson and Staggers as our primary one for the health informatics. The Yoder Wise is going to be for the leadership part of the course, and that's actually a book that you're using in a different course, and so you'll be just using, we'll be referencing some specific reading related to that book. And then there's a lot of other resources that we give you throughout the semester to help with your learning, basic topics. So here's all the big list of those, and then optional resources that we have for you. And again, if you need something else, if you feel like that you're not comfortable with the topic that we're covering and you would like to have a little bit more information, again, let your instructor know, and we'll do our best to help you with that. In terms of course policies, classroom policies, we do consider it is online, but we do consider that a classroom. So there's some things that we go over here to talk about that. We do expect you to check your email at least every 3 days, and also check the D2L site. We will use the announcement page on D2L as our primary communication so that everybody gets it. So you want to make sure that you check that as well. In terms of attendance and participation, your attendance basically is going to be your discussion board activity. If you participate in the discussion board, then you're considered to be attending and participating in the course that week. In terms of some of the online ground rules, some of the general course rules, I've already mentioned checking at least every 3 days. We want you to check in 3 times a week. Check your ETS email account as well. Use ETS email for all communication related to academic work or ETSU. And I'll give you just an example. I did have a situation last semester where I actually got an email through my Yahoo. There's a good chance that when you get something to Yahoo, it's going to roll over into the spam account. And so I may not have gotten that. It just happened that it did go through. So you always want to make sure that you use your ETSU account, because it recognizes that etsu.edu tag that's on the bottom of it or at the end of it, and so it will come on through. We won't have any problems with that. Just to be aware that any activities that we have, if you don't submit them on time, you do receive a 0 for those, and that includes your initial post is due by day 3. If you don't have that initial post done by day 3, then you get a 0. You still have the opportunity to make some points by responding to a classmate, but once you miss that day 3 of that initial post, then you're not going to be allowed to make that up. Remember, it talks about email here. It talks about how to do a proper email. You can read that in terms of how to word your email. The thing that I ask is that you be sure and put your section number in the title of the email, because we do teach many different sections, and so it just speeds things up a little bit. If I know that you're emailing me from 4355 section 901, then I know exactly where to go to, and I won't have to hunt down and delay my response to you. So other things you can look there in terms of reading the email and how to respond. Discussion groups, you will again be responsible for responding by day 3 to with an initial post that will be addressing whatever question you have for that week. And you want to make sure that before you get engaged with your classmates that you really read it and understand what is going on in terms of what has been said and what hadn't been said, because you definitely don't want to hop in there and just duplicate what somebody else has already said. So you want to make sure that you're familiar with what's going on before you respond. And of course, I'm sure familiar with that you want to use positive language. You don't want to be disrespectful or insulting to an individual, and I'm sure I won't have any problems with that, but just to everybody will be on the same page. We'll just go over this. Make sure that you read your comments very thoroughly before you hit reply. Before you hit enter, so that you make sure that, sometimes things can be misconstrued. So you always want to make sure. I think it helps for you to read things out loud, because a lot of times when you read them out loud, you hear them a lot differently than they're actually written. So that can help you maybe say, oh, I need to rewrite this because it's not coming across very clear. Be cooperative with group leaders and assign completing tasks. We're actually we're talking about our discussion board, but everybody's going to be working together. We've decided not to assign group leaders for that, so you don't have to worry about being a group leader, but everybody will be responding to discussion board. Be positive and constructive in any group discussions and respond in a thoughtful and timely manner. In terms of academic conduct, this comes from the ETSU Spectrum Handbook, so I'm sure you're familiar with that, so I'll just let you read through that. In terms of quizzes, actually for you, we won't be doing any unannounced quizzes. We've already assigned all the quizzes for the semester, so yours are all going to be assigned. May be given at any time during the course. You yours will actually be each week. You will have one assigned. Those are already done. But again, they must be completed by the due date. If you don't complete them by that last day on 11:59 p.m., then it's going to be a 0. Any assignments will not be made up. So, for example, if your clinical dashboard assignment, if you don't turn it in, then you're going to get a 0 for that if you don't turn it in by the due date. The clinical dashboard, I've already gone over that in terms of what it is, and I'll go over the rubric to help with that a little bit, but it is a recorded PowerPoint. It has to be at least 10 minutes long, no greater than 15, please. So it is due by the last day of the course. Discussion board policy, I've already mentioned in terms of posting your discussions and how you want to be thoughtful in the content of your discussion boards. A simple agreement, if you get on there and say, Mary, I agree with you, great post, that does not count as a response, and so you won't get any credit for that. So you want to make sure that you have a very thoughtful response. And I've already mentioned how if you submit them after the deadline, then you receive a 0. And just to reiterate, and one of the things I would go ahead, if you keep a calendar, go ahead and put in there, but initial posts are due on day 3 by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the response to a classmate is due by day 7 at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. So I just go ahead and put those in my calendar because that's going to be how it's going to go for the first 6 weeks of the course. You're going to have one each week. This is just an overview of all the assignments. There's an orientation quiz. Just make sure that you read the syllabus and you're familiar with the course policies. And so that's pass-fail. You have 3 quizzes at 15 points apiece, so those are 45. Discussion board activities, you have 6 of those. There's one each week for the first 6 weeks. And then you have your quality safety project, which is the majority of your points, and that's 95 points for the course. All right, testing policy, you can read over that. Late submission I've already covered. And this last part here is student services and technical support. If you need any help, here is how you contact the help desk, D2L help, any of that you need. If they're not able to help you, get in touch with your instructor and we'll see if we can't facilitate getting the question answered. All right, and that's just university. Shared library, database, how to get there, which will be very important for you this semester. The course schedule. The course schedule just outlines what we're going to be doing for the next 7 weeks. And so, for example, week 1, you have a quiz, you have a discussion board, and it tells you when those are due and what the quiz is over. Also tells you have an orientation quiz. And there is a recorded lecture for you to listen to, as well as the reading that's assigned. And then the second week you again have you have 4 chapters assigned in reading that week, and you're going to have a quiz that's due by January 30th, and it's going to be on those. I've left one of those chapters off. I'm sorry. It should be over 25 as well, and you have a discussion board at the same time you have this quiz in week 2. All right, in week 3, doing telehealth, home health, and clinical decision support systems. And again, we have a discussion board and we have a quiz that week over the assigned reading. Then Module 4 starts February the 7th, and it's got some resources. This is where we start picking up our Yoder Wise resources. There's also some videos for you to watch, and there's a discussion board post. There is not a quiz that week. And then week 5, again, discussion board assignment is due. Again, you got reading to do from the Yoder Wise, and then there is a link to a video for you to watch. And then just a hint here to go ahead and begin your dashboard assignment. You're going to have that last week is going to be free for you to work on it, but it might be best if you just go ahead and start it so you don't are trying to rush to get it finished at the end. And then Module 6 is February 21st. You have a discussion board again that week, and it reminds you again your dashboard is coming up, so you want to keep working on it. And then Module 7, we've actually set that aside. There's no quiz, there's no final exam in this course. It is strictly for the dashboard assignment. So you do have that week. If you haven't already started, then you definitely want to start that assignment. All right, so if you have any questions about the syllabus, what you want to do is you want to email your instructor And I may have misspoke at the end. For some reason, at the beginning, I'm thinking I may have said you had a quiz each week. You do not have a quiz each week. You have a quiz for the first 3 weeks, and then they drop off, and you just have discussion boards. So if I did say that, then I apologize. For some reason, I'm thinking I did. Okay. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Bear with me while I bring up the next document. Okay, so the next thing that we'll do is the clinical dashboard assignment. And what we have done here is we have set up a rubric that tells you each slide what you have to cover. So if you cover what's in this rubric, you should do very well in this assignment. Now, again, the presentation is no less than 10 minutes, no greater than 15 minutes, please. Each slide is to have an audio narration. You don't type it in. We don't want written. We want audio. This is a technology-intensive course, so we're going to have audio narrated PowerPoint. And then I've listed here, for example, the first slide, overview of quality safety measures and organization. So it just talks about, you explain to us what a dashboard is, what are quality indicators, how are they used, and why are they important. The next one is the individual indicator that you've chosen. You'll identify in that slide what the indicator is, and then you'll analyze the data and tell us what they did over those successive quarters. And then, why it's important. And one thing we want to start thinking about is CMS measures and reimbursement. Is that an issue? When you look at these quality indicators, if we're not meeting those indicators, is it an issue? And so you're going to address that. The next one is finding 5 evidence-based interventions to address this is a hypothetical unit, so what you're going to make recommendations is how can I improve this? We do not want to have 5 falls a quarter. We want to have 0%. How am I going to improve that so I don't have to worry about that? That we don't have to worry about our patients getting injured and having trouble with CMS reimbursement. And then one of the things you want to start thinking about, I know you're all practicing nurses, but when you become a BSN nurse, it puts you in a unique position in terms of leadership. And so I want you to think about that and how that might impact what we're talking about in this project. And then you want to discuss the role of informatics on a slide and why it's important in patient care and why informatics and that quality indicator, what's the connection there. And then a summary slide. So that is the rubric for the project. This project will be done individually. And then once you finish this, you will submit it to the Dropbox. All right. And if there's any questions, again, email your instructor. So let me get out of this. And I'm going to pull up the discussion board. There we go. All right, this is the discussion board rubric, and it's based on exceptional, average, needs improvement. And so basically, if you're exceptional, you have the possibility of earning up to 100% of the points. If you're average, you have up to the possibility of 50%, and then 0% if you're not meeting the requirements. And so what we have done is we have criteria on the left, for example, the timeliness, module discussion, how you involved were you in that, feedback response to a classmate, and then it's very important that you use APA format, so that's listed as well. So so the first one here, it says that you post your initial response by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time by day 3, and then post 1 response by day 7. So just your interaction on the discussion board that we require, that's how many possible points you can get. And then the module discussion gives you an outline of what we expect to see and the average length of your response. Because, again, we want to make sure it's substantial and not just, this is a great question, I enjoyed looking at this article, or I'm just making that up. And then the feedback response, again, the feedback to your classmate, how in-depth is it? So, again, 100 to 150 words, and then the APA format. So that tells you how you can get the maximum amount of points possible for your discussion board, so you know up front what is expected from you, and you'll be able to achieve that. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing, and then I just wanted to do just a basic overview. Now, this is may not be your actual section, but they're all set up. Each section is set up identical. And so basically what we have is we have the course documents. So everything I just showed you is actually right here under course documents. And I have it threaded throughout the modules as well. But if you ever can't find anything, always come back to course documents and you can find it there. Module 1, you're going to see several things here. You have videos. You have another video here. You have a PowerPoint that goes along with the video. So you have videos to watch where there's a small lecture. And you also have PowerPoints to go along with that so that you can use those if you want to. And one thing I want to mention is there's also study guides for the quizzes. So here are some study guides if you feel like you need them. Then there's the study guides for you. And then Module 2 is set up the exact same way. You'll see PowerPoint, you'll see videos. We may have some external stuff for you in terms of, if I find a YouTube video I think that's interesting for the topic, I may add it in there. Then this week you're going to have you have a discussion board. You have one in one as well, but I didn't show you that. This is where you find your discussion board. You can actually just click directly on it. It shows you before you even go to the discussion board. It shows you what the topic is, so you can think about it before you actually go to the discussion board. When you're ready, you just click on the link. It takes you directly there. And then I've also put the discussion board rubric right here for you, so that you have it with the discussion board. And then 3 is set up the same way. Oh, they don't know why it started me at the bottom. But there is all your lectures, and there's your PowerPoints, and there's your discussion board, and then you have a quiz. So the quizzes, again, study guides for quizzes if you need them. And then I went ahead and added in the clinical dashboard just to start having you start thinking about, need to get started on that. So that's basically how each module rolls on the exact same way. If you have any questions, there is, let me go to the discussion board. You go up here to discussion board, and there's a contact the instructor. So you can contact your instructor there and put a question in the discussion board if you want. You might want to, if it's something that needs to be answered pretty quickly, go ahead and email us, because all of the instructors that are teaching in this course are very dependent on their email, and so they will get your email a lot sooner than going to the contact the instructor. But you can do the contact the instructor, or you can also do that if you want to get some feedback from one of your classmates. Say, well, hey, have y'all seen this document? I'm looking for it. Can you tell me where to find it? And you can post something like that, and one of your classmates can respond to it. So a very helpful little area in the D2L site. So I believe that is about everything for the course. Again, if you have any questions based on what I've covered, get in touch with your instructor, and they will be glad to help you through that. So I hope you have a wonderful 7 weeks, and again, let us know if you have any questions.